All right, so today's video, we're watching a Gold 1 support on PC play some Ana and Bap. Don't see that too often. And they say, this was probably the most stressful game I've had all season. Right at the first fight, I knew it would be an interesting match because we all just folded over instantly. And that happens. I felt like I was on my back foot the entire match and I just couldn't catch up. At the end of round 1, my tank said, can my DPS stop dying? And the other support took my Ana, saying, I'll take my chances with Ana. I decided to go Bap because the enemy Pharah was being oppressive, and I wanted to help deter her. Then, during the second round, my other support exclaimed frustration at how our Sigma got 0 kills when nanoed in the backline. Oh, I can see where this is going. Overall, while the tank did play very aggressively, I think the main issue was just the DPS diff. I won't spoil how this game ends, but I feel like I did pretty well, all things considered. I know my lamp and shift usage aren't ideal, but Bap is not a hero I'm very comfortable on. If you could give any tips and tricks, I would greatly appreciate it, as I'm trying to get into Diamond for that Freya skin. Love the content as always, and I hope you have an amazing day/night. Okay, this is going to be an interesting one. Kind of sounds like this is one of those games where everybody's blaming each other. Let's see.
Attackers incoming.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just going for random sleep chart. I get it. Been there. All right. That's 2 HP. That's a Doom. I mean, the only reason, one thing I'll say is you wasted your cooldowns here, but yeah, this is just a normal first point Havana. It's nothing really like I think you could have used your sleep for the Doom up top, but that still would have ran into the same issue. Yeah, I just think that was just a bad start for everybody. That happens. That's just a... Yeah, there's nothing you could really do in that situation outside of just be like, yeah, their team made a good play. Sometimes, by the way, chat, the other team just makes a good play. Straight up. No matter what, no matter what, you want to blame, etc. Sometimes the other team just makes a good play. Hi, Bucket Boy. Sorry, but I forgot your forehead kiss. That's my bad. I know, I love you too. Do you want to go into your bucket? Hey. How we doing? No bucket? You just wanted to say hi? That's okay. All right, anyway, let's go back. Can I get a heated bucket? I don't know how that would work. You probably would like it, though. All right, so your team lost the first point. It was hard retake. I mean, listen, I'm not going to... If you want me to, Here, you know what? I have an idea. So just to kind of show you what happened at the beginning of the first point, outside of whatever's going on over here, a lot of what happened was your team just gave up free space. If you want to know what really went wrong in the first point there, it kind of started with, basically your team needs to be able to control this part of the map to be able to take away the space, and your team never did. And part of it was you were playing very, no one was denying this window to begin with, so, you could have actually taken the spot for a while. But basically the reason why everything broke down for your team right there was because your team just gave up this whole part of the map, which means that you lose contain up here, and then as you lose contain, everybody gets pushed back, and then you end up losing, right? That's why if you ever play a Havana, the teams that will hold this high ground generally have a very good time, because it's so hard to be able to get, I guess, angles, because eventually you just get kind of brought back here, and there's really no angles you can take outside of here, which is a very risky one. So just for future reference there, as a team, that looks cool too, by the way. As a team, it's really good to, take away this, I mean, there's setups where you can have somebody set up right here and then someone set up right here and you just deny the space. There's a lot of ways to do it. Again, though, it can be rank dependent and it's not as easy on that one, but I think that was why I'm saying, the other team just played it well. They took map control and they just won the team fight, and there's nothing you can really, I guess, do about that at that point outside of set up a little bit better as a team. Moore's going to go down here, or Moore's going to get you. I feel like you're staggering, but maybe I'm wrong here and you're not. You got the kill on Moira, so I guess that worked out, but if your teammate kills the Pharah, that whole trade was there. That's fine. I mean, you had a trade out anyway, so I'm okay with that. If you don't trade there, I would have just said just die in cart and whatever, but it all worked out. That kill on Moira was pretty important, and yeah, so good 1v1 duel. So far, it's just been a very chaotic start. There's nothing I can really do to set up on time or set up time for you. So I want to watch you just kind of settle here. Don't keep running at them. Take an angle. Okay. I want to talk about your positioning very quickly because I feel like this is going to go in the opposite direction of what you're looking for. Why are you playing here? Your line of sight in yourself. Like, even your teammates, I'd rather have your teammates have this aggressive angle. Why aren't you just up here? Like, you can maneuver around anything your teammates do outside of going here, and if your teammates go here, they're going to end up here anyway. So, like, you see what your teammates are doing, and you go, okay, I'm going to go line of sight myself. Now you barely can see your teammates. You're going to have to maneuver around here. But if you just set up here, like, think about how safe you are from their team. You have vision of this doorway, so they go that way. You can readjust to an angle that is easier to deal with. You have full vision of this side, and if people end up here, you can see if anybody's going here. You're not susceptible to the flank over here. See this right here? Like, this whole flank, I was already going to say, like, hey, don't play right here because, like, if they flank you here, you're going to fall over. So the point I'm making is you already put yourself in a rough spot here. So regardless of the result of the team fight, if you stay here, you're eventually just going to get grinded down and lose this. So just want to point that out. It's a little bit too aggressive of where you started. Yeah, I think you're getting the right idea of backing up onto the high. But, like, do you see why I'm like, why go there to begin with? So good job readjusting after. Like, good job readjusting, but it felt like you just kind of wasted time there. Yep. I would play to nano someone here. Who's your nano target? It's gonna have to be your Sigma. Okay. There you go. I would have done that. Okay, talk about this very quickly. Because I feel like this is a good thing to point out too. I don't mind you nanoing your teammate because I just mentioned, hey, let's nano your teammate here. But I want you to think about this part. Why are you waiting until your teammate pops an ultimate that will clear them out and make them back away to a spot where they're going to get to safety and then nano your teammate? I would have nanoed your Sigma prior when they were directly in front of your Sigma, so your Sigma has much easier follow-up. In this type of nano, and I think they'll get a kill. I see the kill there on the Ashe possibly. But in this type of nano, your Sigma has to go and search out the elims. So I would have nanoed your Sigma when there was 3 on top of him, rather than I'm going to nano him after my Ayari pops ultimate and they all start running away because I don't want to get a Yari ultimate. So just point that nano out a little bit. So good on a grenade. Good job there. But as you can see, your Sigma, basically the only value your Sigma got was the voice line. So go by your teammate. There's the tracer. I mean, you can nano tracer. It just depends on the tracer's cooldowns. Didn't have your sleep dart there, but it's because you used it earlier on the Pharaoh, which I think is totally fine. I would just reset, yeah. Sometimes it's like, when you're down in numbers, just go for a quick sleep dart kill or something, and if not, it is what it is, which is fine. You played that just fine, yep. They really want to sleep that Pharaoh? I mean, I would probably do the same thing, to be honest with you. That's why I haven't said anything on it. I mean, if the Pharaoh's going to run at you and you don't have many sleep targets, that's pretty much what you're going to go for the sleep on. If you hit the sleep on Pharaoh, it's worth it. If you don't, then, well, better do at least try. Okay, good pick there by the Freya. Going to the left here to heal your Sigma. Nice job. Good sleep. Good kill.
Stop the payload.
Okay, the spot's fine for now. Only thing you have to really worry about is if they get map control, but for now, you're in a good spot. What, 2 minutes on the clock? So, the team's done a solid job here. You're setting up, you're looking for a play, you're shooting at a random wall. I think your mouse just disconnected or something. I don't know what just happened right there. Okay. I'm starting to see a trend here on 2 things. And again, I'm not going to fully adjust your playstyle. And I am somebody who also likes to un-iron sight a little bit. You know, I don't mind the idea of it. I like to play a little bit more hip-fiery sometimes. But like, I feel like sometimes you can just lock in on a scope. They know you're there to begin with. So the difference between un-iron sight and iron sight is its hit scan and projectile. And sometimes the projectile aim needs to lead the target, and you might miss your heal occasionally. So don't be afraid to just zoom in at a certain point when you have good positioning. Again, I'm not saying do it all the time because you can get locked into, like, you know, the animation and fall over, but these are like moments where I think it's okay. Number 2, we just talked about your sleep darts. I don't think you're giving yourself time. I think you're just hitting your sleep dart button the moment you see somebody, which is leading to massive inaccuracies on it. I think you're literally just, I want you to try something next time you're playing. Slow down your sleep dart. I want you to process the idea of your sleep dart and then use your sleep dart, not just pop your sleep dart. Because I think you're missing it because you're just sending it most of the time. And like, that's going to be very inconsistent. You can be a little bit more calculated with those sleeps. See, now, anyway, that's something I've noticed. All right, see how you're doing. You're setting up on here. You're taking yourself out of this team fight. I know you want to readjust in position, but I think you're going to be a little bit surprised as to the angle you have when you get here. Okay, so what's the problem? So the only way you're going to make this work is if you do a full rotation, but I knew you were going to go to this part. So unless you full rotate, this rotation you did wouldn't make much sense just yet, because now you take away the pressure of being able to shoot at the people that can shoot your Sigma, and you still can't heal your Sigma to begin with. So you do put yourself in a decent spot. But what I would say in this situation is make sure your Sigma knows you're readjusting your position. Two things I do when I play Ana. Again, maybe it's a little bit overboard, but I always tell my tank or my DPS or my support, I guess I could have just said any of the roles, when I'm adjusting my position and where I can heal from. Again, you're not in voice, totally okay. Sometimes you can use the ping system with that, which I think you've been utilizing a little bit, but if you haven't been, it's a good way to do that. But in this situation, like, it needs to be known that you're rotated. Number two, I always let my teammates know when I reload. Now, I know that might sound like an extra step of information, but if I hear from my Ana that my Ana is reloading, I know I need to readjust my position. That little bit of time in means that my Ana cannot heal me, which means that if I'm expecting that type of burst heal, it is currently in a waiting period. I need to wait a second. So I just want to point out that if you are, common in voice or, communicating with your team, sometimes that can be an effective way to let your teammates know that you just can't heal them for a second. So those are two things I try to do. Anyway, Sigma still can't get healed, and then now can finally be healed. So thankfully your Sigma survived that, but I think that could have gone a very different way. Why can't you queue up on Stadium and console? I don't know, I'm sorry. See what I mean about your sleep darts? Like right there, that just felt like you were a sleep dart in the sleep dart. Like it's not that you're not looking at people, it's that you're not really giving self time to like, it'd be kind of the equivalent of like not aiming on Ana when you're just like doing your heals. Like you're just like aiming like a sprinkler. And you're just moving around being like, oh, well, one of these heals will hit one day, So I just want you to be careful of that. Remember, it's okay to zoom in a couple times. You don't need to un-iron sight those type of situations. I feel like sometimes you're making it more difficult. Don't get me wrong, I will un-iron sight, but I think you're making it a little bit more difficult than I think you would like. What is that strategy? All right, you're here. You can sleep the Bob if you would like. Now, keep in mind, a little bit of a note, because I don't think a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but I mean, some people do not know this. Okay, you ready? When you sleep Bob, it is not like sleeping a DPS or sleeping a support. The Bob has the tank passive, which means that when you sleep Bob, it is for a much shorter time. I think, 2.5 seconds instead of 5 or something like that. The point I'm making here is I think sometimes people make the mistake of sleeping a Bob, assume the Bob will be slept the whole majority of the seconds, like the 5 seconds. Yes, Bob does have the DPS passive. Bob has the tank passive. Maybe is it 3 seconds? There you go, 3 seconds. I just forget sometimes the numbers. So the point I'm making is Bob will not sleep as much as the other heroes would, or a tank. I mean, a tank is the same equivalent. So you have to readjust your position and very quickly after you sleep a Bob. So that's a little bit of a note. I see sometimes people will sleep a Bob and then assume they have more time. No, when you sleep a Bob, your next step is how do I position myself not to be rolled by this Bob? That is your next step. When you sleep him for 5 seconds, you can go, okay, I'll do a couple heals, then I'll start to back away. When Bob is with the tank passive, you have to basically be like sleep and then run. Sleep and then run. So anyway. I don't mind the nano for now, but I am concerned that, yep. There you go. In real time, I probably would have done the same thing, but I also have information here that, when you're in real time, you won't realize you were just down in numbers and people were flanking you. You were going to fall over. But I get why you did it. I'm not saying it was good, and there's a chance I would have done that and went, damn, I shouldn't have nanoed that. So the point I'm making is that sometimes you're just going to go for those plays, and like, it's just you'll look at it in hindsight and be like, yeah, sometimes I just got to go for a play, but it obviously wasn't ideal. Okay, now you have long range. You're on Ana. You have capability of putting more pressure on their Pharah or their Mercy. So that is also really good. So you have a little bit more sight lines. Third point's where Ana thrives. Same with first, but technically your first was really rough. So third point would be a good spot for Ana. So just keep looking. I'm also going for Ana play of the games today since I'm currently doing the play of the game series. So I got to pay attention to everything. You went with the sleep dart headshot perk ones. Totally normal. I've been taking those too. Time for a random sleep dart towards the Pharah. Get ready. Nope. Okay. Yep. I feel like sometimes when you zoom in, you end up missing a lot. I think it's because I think you just need to settle. I give that advice sometimes. It's okay just to settle as Ana. Sometimes when I play Ana, you'll start to see that like I can just like settle somewhere because I just position myself in such a good spot that I don't have to worry about stuff. And like, I just feel like you're not ever really settling. You're just constantly just kind of moving around the map. You're maneuvering around the map. You're throwing random cooldowns. It just feels like you're just making some plays that don't... It almost feels like you're trying to do too much. All right, Doom just... How? How did Doom go off the map? How did this Doom go off the map? What happened here?
10 seconds remaining.
Okay, now we know what happened. All right, cool. Yeah, now we know. All right, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, been there, done that.
Leveling the payload. Stop them.
Okay, yeah, so here's the thing, chat. They're missing a lot of shots, aren't they? It's happening. We can't sit there and say that's not happening, right? But I think this is the product of how your play style than I think it is that you can't hit your shots. Believe it or not, I feel like this is the product of you just not settling and kind of just locking in a little bit more. So let's talk about this a little quickly. One, you bring up quickscoping. Quickscoping is good, right? Listen, if you're trying to get to that next level of on a quickscoping is as simple as it is what it is. It's quickscope, right? You shoot as you zoom, and there's a timing where it can look like you're not doing any animation, and you can make it hit scan. It's great. That can be fine. But a bit of advice I've always given to people, and I'll pause right now since we're kind of sitting here, is that bad positioning and kind of that like panic play can lead to bad aim and make you kind of overthink your aim sometimes. So if you just position yourself in a good spot, and you either A, just lock in with like your zoom in, or you put yourself in like an almost unkillable spot, your aim will be 10 times better. The problem is that you're trying to do things like you're constantly like moving, you're constantly on iron sight trying to kill a Pharah. Again, just to reiterate to people who don't know like some of the things with Ana, when you're zoomed in, it is hit scan, okay? Hit scan is when wherever you're aiming, it immediately goes there, okay? That's how it works. If you're zoomed in and you're aiming on somebody, it's hit scan. Projectile. You have travel time to your shots, which means that every hero that is a projectile hero, examples are Genji or Pharah, etc., have different projectile speeds. So that means that every hero you have to learn projectile speeds. And if you don't do that, your shots are going to miss. And if you aim like hit scan, which I feel like you have sometimes, you're going to miss even more if they even move around the map. So I think a big piece of advice I'm going to give you is just settle. You're trying to do too much when in reality, less is more. I'm telling you, watch some really good Anas. Sometimes they're not even, they will move 2 feet in the matter of a minute and a half. They won't even move because they don't have to, because they put themselves in a spot where the other team has to make multi-level plays, multi-layered. Like they have to take multiple ways of positioning to get to you. Take that to advantage. Yeah, well, I mean, the flick shot thing, that's a whole different thing. Because like, again, I try to stray away from aiming styles on that one and telling players, oh, don't over flick stuff. Listen, I don't think the Ana fixing their flick shot right now is going to make them play Ana better outside of in a couple occasional shots. I think that right now they need to worry about the other stuff, and then all that will come together. All right, on Bap now, so obviously we knew this was going, so, you know, cool to see Bap. Yep.
Would you like the sponge or the spray? No shortcut, no someone call.
You're one checkpoint away from your drives, you got this. Okay. Imagine if that Mercy just got like one shot because like no one peeked the Mercy. All right, see how your Bap is. Now, obviously the storyline here, chat, if you didn't know, the other support took the Ana because the DPS was, I don't know. Everybody was complaining. I think the tank was complaining about the DPS. I already forgot. All right, let's go. One shot. When you have an AoE, when you have a bunch of people in front of you, your burst heal can be good for AoE healing too. On top of that, so don't be afraid to use that a little bit early in the early phase. Eventually, you want to be a little bit safer with it. Okay. Okay. High ground, top right. Crouch, up top right. Crouch, go up top right. I'm saying crouch because you can jump. Take an angle. Okay. You don't need to take the right angle now. Let's take a different angle. They look at their heroes. They don't have a Widow, so you can go top left. You can push it with your team technically too if you really want to. So that's fine. Okay, cool. With Bap, they need to alternate between healing and shooting. Oh, that's the least of my worries right now. But I agree that, I mean, obviously, you want to do that. Absolutely. This is just a... The thing is that the way that this player plays right now is such a solvable issue that if it really is just settling. I'm not even joking. I just want you to see how much you're just constantly just moving around the map and trying to constantly do something. Again, this is probably the equivalent of watching me just hit the jump key over and over again. As chat knows, I just spam my jump key. You want to pop your lamp in this situation just in case. There you go. I would have done that sooner. You're like, yeah, but are you wasting your lamp? No one has an ultimate at this point outside of like a Reinhardt, right? Even then, if they kill you here, I'd rather see you die using the lamp right now in this specific situation than you just waiting as long as possible. Again, as it gets a little bit trickier as you get into like all rotations and things like that, but even then a Pharah ultimate would probably just shred through that to begin with. So, and yes, I mean, yeah, I can bring that up too with Bap. If anybody doesn't know, if you're not hitting your direct heals, splash heals are still pretty solid. That's why Bap has pretty good AoE healing, pretty good. Of course, they need to be stacked. AoEs when everybody's kind of just stacked together. Area of effect is the MMO terminology. And yeah, that's a go. You bring up a good point too of like you're just kind of chasing your team, and that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like you just constantly chase your team. Yeah, that's a good point. And like you just feel like you have to just run with them and always be near them, but like that's generally how you fall over. You need to find like a good. You need to find like a good in between. That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. No, you can like. There's a difference between. So let me put this out. Like right here, if your team's here and you settle like back here and you're healing, that's fine. But what the BAP ends up doing is the BAP gravitates towards. I mean, look at this. Look how much room is left with this BAP because this BAP just keeps following the Rhine. I mean, not the Rhine, the Sigma, and just keeps trying to stick with everybody. Like this is not where you want to end up because you have no escape, right? Like the only thing I will say positively about this angle is you do have cover here, but even that might not be effective. This Rhine does not look happy. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Yep. Oh man.
Do something!
Why are you here? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, by the way, this is cool. You had the full rotation and the capability of just setting up in a different spot, and you're just running that through team. Like, this is the point I'm making is like, you're just not giving your time. You're not settling. Your position, and there isn't any. It's just, you just keep running around the map. Well, they don't play a lot of BAP, so I get that part of it. So, like, that's why, again, the mechanics do. But it just feels like you're just not settling. Again, it's one of those less is more situations. It's just you're just not giving yourself time to do anything. You're just running in circles. Okay, let's see what you do. Are you going to set somewhere and kind of just like put yourself in a spot to put some damage out? Are you going to put a window up here at the angle? Be a good window. Top high ground window right now. Solo windows are fine. I mean, it's not even a solo window. You have a Sojourn. So here, okay, I'm going to give you a play. You ready? You have a Sojourn here. Wide swing left window right here, right now. You and your Sojourn will benefit from this. Let me show you what should happen if you do this. And Reinhardt's now behind your team. This Rhine can't do anything. This Rhine can't protect anybody. All right? You take the corner here. You pop your window with the Sojourn. When you do that, your teammates here are now able to push up. Everybody's out of position now. You can pretty much win the team fight. So that should be your reaction. What you shouldn't do is just stand here and just look at this Rhine. Straight up. If you just stand here and just look at this Rhine, it will probably not go well. I'm just pointing that out. We'll see what happens.
It's go time.
So your teammate pops off and gets the play. Now let me ask you this question. If your Sojourn doesn't do that, where does this go? Do you see how right there you just kind of did exactly what we were talking about, how you just ran in circles? Or you went low ground with your teammates and died to the Pharah that you would have seen on the high ground that you would have set up on? See the point I'm making? Let's stop like gravitating towards your teammates like they're a magnet. Let's just like, or vice versa. Like, you know, they're the fridge and you're the magnet, right? The point I'm making is you gotta start to think more about positioning and putting yourself in spots that are beneficial. You did it, by the way. Look at it. You did it. But do you see what I mean, chat? Why do it now, even though you're gonna get the kills? Why do that now when this is a... Keep in mind, you say good window, and I want to talk about this very quickly. The window itself is fine, right? This play is fine. But do you see why when I showed them earlier, they should have done this the fight prior? Because now you have a much riskier window when the other one would probably have guaranteed you 2 kills. And then a Pharah would have flanked you from the high ground, probably ulted, and then it would have been a trade. You see what I'm saying? So again, while the window here is good, I don't think the timing was where it could have been. And you basically gave up a team fight just to do the same window that we were talking about earlier when they were more set up for it. Again, we'll see what happens. Obviously, great kills there, but it's just, it's more about getting yourself set up for that previous team fight and doing that correctly than this. I think your teammates do win the team fight, and this, again, will show you the value of that window spot. But you did that when that was at a disadvantage and won the team fight. Imagine it earlier when you would have done that prior. Still worked out, so a good play in that. I don't know what's going on over here, but... Yep. I mean, that was just go to the main doorway type of situation, but I've done that. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I mean, that's not... Yeah, I was saying, he wasn't poking him. Like, he was just kind of running away. I mean, it stayed in the same doorway, that is. Okay. That 2-second sequence there is what I want to see more out of you, by the way. I know that wasn't really a high sample size there, but you notice how for a second there you just settled at that little, like, barrel, and you kind of just healed your teammates. You looked at what they were doing. It's okay to settle. I know the Pharaoh's going to start spamming you, but, like, it's okay to just, you know, play here for a little bit, force them in there. You have a burst heal. You can survive most of that initial play. The idea, though, is that, like, you're settling, you're in a good spot, and you're not moving around the map like crazy. Now, if you want to get wild, there's the next step here. You can go up top on high ground, right? See, you can go up here. This will be okay. I think that would be a viable spot to rotate to. Let's see what you do.
Do something.
Okay, you play in the window here. They bob the spot you're at, so you would have to readjust regardless. All right, throwing a lamp there. Okay, let's stop that. Again, I want you to stop taking small doorway fights. Go up here. There's so much room for, like, activities up here. Like, think about it, right? Like, there's so much room for activities, okay? You could be up here, and you could have so much more cover. You can have so much more, like, just being able to shoot at people. You won't have to worry about a Reinhardt being right here. Like, there's so many things that you could do from just this very simple spot that you really need to start to, like, think about that. I just feel like you spend so much time just running in circles. Again, good job by your teammates. Getting some kills here. Kill your teammate. That'd be good. Cool. Now use your jump. All right. Remember, in that point, the Reinhardt's probably going to have a shatter. We haven't seen a shatter for a while. Let's go back to what we talked about. Position yourself properly, and this will be much better. You gotta stop. You gotta stop doing this. This is what's going to come down to in this VOD. Everything that comes down to mechanics and all of this is going to be out the window until you start using your windows properly. I had to make the pun there because it was going together. But, like, you just need to settle. Less is more. Set yourself up in good spots. Stop running around the map in circles, and you're going to end up in a much better spot. Straight up. Like you look at how you're moving around the map. You don't stop. You just keep going. And, like, you're not able to be in spots to help your teammates when you can, right? If you're just sitting back there in, like, a good spot, you pop your window, you heal your teammates during that, you just have a much better opportunity. Instead, you're at a weird angle, you can't take the kill. Now you're going to end up doing some window that probably won't make as much sense. You're losing your teammates. Ryan's on point. By the way, the Ryan is swinging on you as Bap. Okay, there it is. You get the kill. All right, the cart feels safe now. That was very nice of you. I know you were trying to save your teammates, and it worked out for your Sigma, but window's fine. I just want to point this out to everybody, by the way. Just a simple note here. Most people know this, but I always throw in these tips anyway, because there's always new players. Your heals are increased through the window too. So if you're in BAP here, do not go in front of your window to heal your teammates. In fact, if you are a tank player, specifically a tank player, if your teammate pops window, I know using the window can be really fun. And don't get me wrong, Sigma could be one of those heroes that would benefit from this. But if you're low HP, you step in front of that damn window. Okay? I just want to point that out. Your BAP will love you if you step in front of the window when they pop a window to heal you. You will get healed and you will be fine. Sometimes I find that a tank will back up to use the window, but like at low HP, if you're at low HP, do not do that. Just go in front of the window and get healed up. You will get healed up so quickly that the other team won't be able to do anything, and now you have a pretty good team fight going for you, okay? So when we have a BAP and they're BAP windows, let you do that. Yep, Ana. Yep, also Ana. Exactly. There's a lot of heroes that can benefit from that. So remember, if you are a tank, go in front of the window to get healed. Your teammates will appreciate it, okay? Of course, I'm not saying all the time if your Sigma's at full HP and there's 3 people behind a wall, you better back up to that window, you know, as a Sigma or somebody who can kill behind a wall. But for the most case, it really helps your supports. Anyway, here we go. Ha! I would burst steal that, obviously, but I think that timing was just the pause time, and it probably was a lot quicker in real time. He says, when you play BAP, sometimes you worry too much to put a window everyone can use. Do you want me to be honest with you? I mean, your response is no, don't be. I play against really good BAPs a lot, right? I play against really good BAPs. If you wanted, like, okay, I can think of, there's a couple players, okay, that I can think of right away. And if you watch OWCS, I think of like Ultraviolet or like Landon. The amount of times I've been in a ranked game and they'll be on BAP and they're just solo in the lobby is very high. And that goes back to what you were saying of the window. A lot of really good BAPs actually use the window as a solo ult. I'm not even joking. A lot of them just use it as an off-angle damage and just shred a lobby. It's like if you are on a flank, think about this. And I think this is where this could be a little bit more advanced on like how to play BAP here, but I want you to think about the result of this. If you put a window down in front of your whole team, which again, I do believe you should, like I do think a lot of the time you're going to want to use a window for your team, but it also depends on the map. If we're playing, I don't know, a Junkertown and you said to me that you went on an off angle and just popped a window, I think that's totally okay, right? I think that's totally okay because you can solo them. And a lot of the time, the window is a surprise. So at the very least, when you pop your window at like a weird angle where they don't even expect it, you're gonna get a free kill, right? Like you're gonna get a free kill. So like, yeah, don't be afraid to use it for yourself. I wouldn't say use it 100% of the time. I do want you to find a good balance between that. But if your question is, should you window yourself for like team fight wins? Absolutely. In fact, remember that earlier sequence I showed where the Sojourn was there and they should have windowed it earlier, did it later? I think the BAP could have soloed 2 people without any help from a Sojourn to begin with. It just so happened a Sojourn was there, but you could have solo ulted that easily. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, don't be afraid to make that play style, right? But again, the difficult part for me to help the BAP here is it's not about doing those plays. I think those plays will happen. It's about just settling. And I think that's the number one concern. So we'll see. Anyway. If you're asking, should you have lamped that? No, because you would have been on what, a 25-second cooldown, I think. I think it's 25 seconds. I can't remember the exact cooldown on it. I feel like that's a pretty good timing nowadays. I think they've switched up that cooldown so much of like what the BAP lamp is. It feels like it's at a pretty good sweet spot now. You know, not as frustrating to deal with. Decent uptime. Obviously, you go down there. Again, this goes back to just like, you have this like thing with going on the doorways. Okay, let me kind of give an example of this. Let me give you an example of this. You ready? A doorway does not necessarily mean good cover. All right? Because now you're just in a small doorway. How do I have this experience? I played 2CP for about, 7 years when Overwatch 1 was out. Trust me, I know how it goes when you just stand in a choke. And when you stand in a small doorway, which you've done about 5 times this game, the same result has happened. You just fall over. Good positioning is having cover. Right? So the cover doesn't have to be the doorway. It could be a wall. It could be a barrel in front of you. It could be the smallest of cover, but if they can't get a free kill, you're in a good spot. Now, could you go through the doorway to use the cover? Yes, but why re-peek it? Honestly, launch a lamp over, send it. I would do it just for the heck of it. Now don't do it. It would have been fun to see where it went, because you'll have one teammate in the back line. Now you can use your lamp for your tracer up there. Oh, well. There you go. Yeah, I mean, so just to kind of go back on this, you have a lot to work on straight up. And I want to start you off with, let's just settle your gameplay down, okay? Everything else we talked about, if you want to apply that knowledge, do it. I think that'll be helpful. It will help you become a better player. All of that can make sense. Totally get it. But I think the first step you need to take is let's slow down your gameplay. Let's get you set up in spots. Let's think about what the enemy team can do to you. In fact, I think something you can do next time, if you continue with this play style, watch the other VOD back. Advice I give, watching the point of view of the other team and how easy it is to kill you in some situations can help a lot. I would suggest that going forward too if you keep having that same issue. But if you can apply a lot of the stuff we talked about, you're going to be just fine, because I think that will really settle your gameplay. You got this. You absolutely got this. You like the video? Hit the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't. You want to submit something like this, my Discord's where you do that. If you want to watch more of these, you're going to see a box pop up. It's probably popping up right now. Click that video. It's going to be a good one. With that being said, hope you all have an amazing day/night.